pictures speak louder than words. The images of Prime Minister Modi's surprise visit to Adampur Air Base was not just high on Josh, but also on symbolism. Amid chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, he spent time with the Jawans at this airbase strategically located close to the international border. Look closely at the Prime Minister's cap. He proudly wore a Trishul, a symbol of Shiva, the destroyer of evil. In the backdrop stood our guardians of the sky, the S-400 Sudarshan Chakra, which was in the thick of action during Operation Sindur, and next to it, and which Pakistan incidentally said had been destroyed. And next to it was the MiG-29 fighter jet, which again Pakistan claimed to have destroyed. The Prime Minister also fact-checked Pakistan's propaganda. The visuals clearly show the runway and the entire airbase fully intact. Ek baal bhi baaka nahi hua. Pakistan said that in Hindi for you, maybe easier to understand. Not one stone was out of place. This is the base you claim to have hit. Remember, Pakistan claimed that its drones had hit and damaged the S-400 defense system, jets and the runway at Adampur. Here's the saboot that they didn't have. He also sent a stern message to Pakistan. Watch this picture. Prime Minister had this war cry in the background. This is why enemy pilots don't sleep at night. Our forces don't just protect the skies, they rule it. Prime Minister Modi also thundered that Operation Sindur was a new normal. It was the Sindur doctrine, and that's a warning that Bharat will respond to terror on its own terms, and enemy's nuclear threat won't come in the way at all. A direct and stern message that was given. Well, Tehseen Poonawalla, after this unambiguous message, why is the Congress party still being spoiled sport? Why is the opposition still being spoiled sport? Mehbooba Mufti even saying, "Seekh lo bhai Pakistan se, the Indian Air Force should learn." Should people who make such statements actually be bundled up, gift wrapped and sent to Pakistan?
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Navika ji. At the onset, thank you to General Dillon, Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava and Major Gaurav Arya for your services to our nation. Because of people like you, we are safe. Two or three things. Operation Sindur, of course, was a resounding success. We now know what happened between May 6th and May 7th in that night, and the way within a 30-second window, that 1 hour, 1.5 hour confrontation between the two air forces, how we, on precision, through 24 missiles, smashing the 9 targets, and we attained operational success. We now know that. I agree with what Abhijit Iyer Mitra said, that of course of our non-nuclear attack treaty which we signed on 27 January 1991, we would not do this on purpose. I completely agree with Abhijit. If something has happened, Pakistan is to be blamed for not being transparent like India is every 1st January. There are only two issues as somebody who supports my government, and I want to give kudos to my Prime Minister for leading this from the front and setting this new doctrine. Two questions that need to be asked. Point number one, that is, if the Honorable Prime Minister can now allow the opposition, which is a majority of Indian, the will of the majority of Indian, because the collective opposition is about 60%, to have a special session of Parliament where the Honorable Prime Minister can speak to us not on operational secrets, on addressing the nation through Parliament, which is the basis of our democracy. That is the first thing. Number two, when Pakistan DGMO called for truce and they were begging for truce at 3:30 in the evening, there were a couple of things that we need to speak. I think I speak for, because I met a lot of people, I think the country is very let down by the United States of America. The way the US has behaved, the way they've attempted to take credit away from our Prime Minister and our government, I think the nation is very, very let down with what the United States of America has did. So I think at some way that also needs to be addressed. I don't want to go into those details. And a second thing that needs to be addressed, and I speak for our citizens on the border. Look, Pakistan has an aim of bleeding us to death with 1,000 cuts. And the new doctrine of these 1,000 cuts are send these drones. Now these drones may not be armed, they may be drones to probe, but every time these drones come in, their protocol sets in, there's darkness, flights are diverted. They want to economically harm our border areas. They are already a bankrupt nation. I'm talking about Gujarat, Rajasthan, I'm talking about these areas as well, including Amritsar, Ambala, etc. and Haryana. How do we deal with this? How do we bring this up? I think these are important questions that we need to discuss in public domain. These are right questions to ask, and I'm asking this on behalf of my fellow citizens on the border for whom I owe a responsibility as opposition to ask these questions.
Well, on a lighter note, let me just tell you, how do you deal with it? Well, you just sit back, tie your seatbelt and relax. The government and the defense forces will deal with it. Tehseen Poonawalla. But Pradeep Bhandari.
Don't make that on a light note. You see, every time these drones come, yesterday an Indigo flight was cancelled. Friends of mine who were on that Indigo flight had to go to Amritsar for an inbound treatment. Pakistan will just send empty drones. I think it is serious to talk to Pakistan on these issues. So yes, our army will shoot them down.
So you want India now to go and start talking to Pakistan?
No, Pakistan is going to talk
Pradeep Bhandari. Pradeep Bhandari, please respond.
Well, Navika ji, let me make it clear. I completely disagree with Tehseen. We will not be talking to Pakistan. Only thing on which we will be talking is taking back POK and on ending terrorism. There is no other third talk which will happen, and there is no other third country which will have any interference in our relationship with respect to fighting terror. Let me begin with a very important point, Navika ji, because he's gone into the technicalities but not hit the principle of the argument. The principle of the argument is, for the first time since independence, India's doctrine against Pakistan has been changed, and it is no longer defensive, it is offensive against terror. And the word which Prime Minister reiterated in his speech, which is the historic speech, and I believe when global history will be written, this will be an inflection point, and this image depicts it. It is word called as tabahi. It is world called as destruction. For the first time, a global leader has declared that on our own terms, at our own time, at our own will, we will just not respond to terror, we will also respond to backers of terror. For the first time, the Indian Prime Minister has categorically said that there is no difference between state actors and non-state actors. This has not happened since 1947, and this is why I say it is an inflection point. Point number two, which Tehseen was speaking about, all of these meetings can happen later. Operation Sindur is ongoing. It has not ended. When an operation is ongoing, I believe politics can take a back step. And if it is not, Tehseen does not want to believe me, let me quote Mallikarjun Kharge, who today said and quoted, "This is a confidential matter. We will discuss everything at the right time. This is not the right time to speak." So I believe that Mr. Kharge has answered him. But let me come to a larger argument. The larger argument, Navika ji and all these defense experts learned generals have been speaking about, I do believe that if you look at war commentary, nobody would have imagined that a political leadership would give such a free hand to the Indian forces that they will just not hit POK, but they will hit inside Pakistan, deep inside Pakistan, which is Islamabad to Rawalpindi. I believe this is something which is a huge inflection point, and the Honorable Prime Minister going to Adampur has made it clear. Point number two, which I want to reiterate, and I'll tell you the will of this, because you were quoting certain lines of Ramayana. Let me quote a line from Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, and this is from his famous कविता परशुराम की प्रतीक्षण है, कोट, बाहों से हम अनबुद्धि आघात खाएंगे, धस जाएगी ये धरा अगर चाहेंगे, तूफान हमारे इंगित पर ठहरेंगे, हम जहां कहेंगे मेघ वहीं गहरेंगे. Which means that now the country has made it clear that no corner of Pakistan is out of India's reach, and the operations will be ongoing. So whether it is United States of America or any other third country, it has no business. And the MEA few hours back in its official statement also has reiterated another very important point. Only in demonstrative strike, if we can strike deep inside Pakistan. These were not punitive strikes, these were demonstrative strikes. I believe that when we go for punitive strikes, if Pakistan ever comes back and hits us with terror, because you've declared that an act of terror is an act of war on us, I believe the punitive strikes can dismantle Pakistan.
Okay, this was only demonstrative and not punitive. Well, that's news. Pakistan clearly needs to take note of that. But Abhijit, I want to ask you this question. Why is the opposition so obsessed with the Donald Trump question? Donald Trump's tweet that came before the official briefing, and Pakistan DGMO calling the Indian DGMO. What do you see in this that the Congress party is getting into a twist about?
So, you know, this is a pathology that the Congress and the opposition have. Everything we do today was because of Nehru. But then when, you know, you blame Nehru for the original sin of, say, Kashmir and things, they're like, "Arey, 10 saal to tum baithe the." So, when it suits them, everything is Nehru and Indira Gandhi. When it doesn't suit them, everything is Modi. Just like, when it's their government sitting in a state, law and order problems suddenly become central problems. But when it's a BJP government in a state, then a state problem is a state problem. So, this is something we shouldn't really take very seriously. This is a standard goal-shifting, responsibility shirking game plan that they have.
But it did take people by surprise when Donald Trump tweeted.
Tell me something. One second, let me finish. Every time peace is made internationally, it is the countries involved in the peace that have to make the concessions. America doesn't go around making the concessions. Between the Saudis and the Israelis, the Emiratis and the Israelis, everything. It is those countries that make the concessions. They are the ones that take the public risk of their own publics, alienating their publics and things like that. Now, Trump takes a lot of credit. He steals credit more often than he takes credit. Okay, now it suits them very well. This is a fantastic way of driving a wedge between Trump and Modi and claiming that this isn't credit theft. These are the same people who will claim, oh, Trump this, Trump that, because they used to love Joe Biden and his US aid. Most of them were propped up by US aid, and they were all cribbing when US aid went. Let me finish here. And they were all cribbing when US aid went. But suddenly Donald Trump has become the paragon of virtue and truth. And trust me,
what's troubling you?
Sorry, let me finish. One sec, Navika. Tomorrow.
This is a rally speech now, Abhijit.
Quickly. Tomorrow, if Hillary Clinton comes on this program, she herself will say, no, Trump is the paragon of virtue. I bet you this. Just one quick rejoinder to Pradeep. It is not demonstrative, it is punitive. The problem is we have seen so many videos of Israeli and American style battle doctrines. We don't realize punitive isn't just killing people or blowing up aircraft. There are many ways of disabling an airbase. One is to blow up all the aircraft, but the second is to bomb the runway and see to it they're all trapped there so you can kill them at your will. It is a warning. As a rule, हमारे धर्म शास्त्रों में, युद्ध शास्त्रों में, we never
पहला बार हम नहीं करते.
There is no Hindi Sanskrit word for katleam. It is an imported word. When we used to capture a city, we did not go around slaughtering women and children.
Absolutely.
The way certain Middle Eastern civilizations do.
Absolutely. You make a great point there, but Major Gaurav Arya, why is the presence of Trump in this equation piquing the opposition so much?
I don't know, Navika, because Narendra Modi does not control Donald Trump. In fact, nobody controls Donald Trump. This guy will get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, from tomorrow, 240% tariff on China. He might even say 400. Who's to stop Donald Trump? I mean, the American Constitution, the American democratic values have not been able to stop. I think it is wrong for the opposition to say, Trump ne kyun tweet kar diya? Aaj tak kisi ko nahi pata laga Trump ne kyun tweet kar diya. What can Modi ji tell Trump? Ki aap tweet nahi karoge? I mean, come to think of it at a practical, how do you control this guy? This guy is uncontrollable. He says stuff that nobody else says. That's it.
Well,
these are very good points Major Gaurav and Abhijit put up, except for one technical thing. At 3:30 when Pakistan begged us for mercy, at 4:45 before the press conference to the citizens of India, it was Trump who announced it. We know what Marco Rubio said. The question out here is, how did Trump know if Trump didn't get this done before the citizens of India or the government of India? It's point number one. And I think the more important question is, whatever we try and say out here on these news channels, in the country today, there's a letdown by what Trump has done.
Oh.
Because, please, allow me, give me 10 seconds, Navika, of the hyphenating of India and Pakistan. It's a very big letdown. And whatever we may think about it, that has been let down. We had Pakistan by the scruff of the neck. The least we can do is we want now no drones, at least in our border areas. The least we want is the Pahalgam killers to be handed over to us. I think those are fair demands as opposition, I'm asking.
Pradeep Bhandari, please respond.
Well, Navika ji, it is ironical that despite the Honorable Prime Minister speaking after the Donald Trump statement, despite Jaishankar ji giving an official line, despite the MEA making it clear the Indian opposition does not want to believe the official line of the Indian government but wants to believe Donald Trump. I think they've spoken about Donald Trump more in the last 48 hours than they would have done in the last 10 years. But let me just counter them factually. In July 2019, if you remember, Mr. Donald Trump and Imran Khan had done a joint press conference where they spoke about the same issue. Within just matter of 15 days, we abrogated Article 370. So this has been a past. In many matters of domestic policy, whether it is United States of America or any other country, we do not consult. It is the opposition to answer that. Sometime it is China, sometime it is George Soros, now it is some other third foreign leader. Why do they believe on something foreign more than the official line of the government? Maybe because of their Italian origin.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But Sushant Sareen, excuse me. 1 minute. Sushant Sareen, 1 minute, gentlemen. Sushant
Sareen. That is for Pakistan, who begged in front of us and then went to United States of America. Why
exactly my point. Sushant Sareen, what is important is the DGMO of Pakistan made the call to DGMO of India. Is any other detail necessary at this point?
No, but let me give Tehseen, since he's so insistent, let me give him a detail. Right? He says, how come within 40-45 minutes of the talks taking place, this guy Marco Rubio tweeted something out. Let me tell you something. Let me take you back a few years. There was an American mercenary who went and killed 2 Pakistanis, right? There was a case taking place. When the final denouement of the case was taking place, the damn ISI chief was sitting in the bloody courtroom and tweeting or messaging to his father in the White House कि my बाप मैंने कर दिया है, आपका बंदा रिलीज हो रहा है. He was tweeting, messaging from there, WhatsApping. This is what Pakistan is. You mean to tell me that when that low-life DGMO of Pakistan was talking to our DGMO, there would not have been somebody telling the Americans, my baap, whatever you have asked us to do, we have done. Come on, get real, man. Understand your enemy. Before you start taking pot shots at your own people, understand the third-rate ghatia enemy you have. Number one. Number two, I agree. I am myself incensed by the fact that the Americans were trying to take credit for nothing that they have done. Nothing. All that they have done is, at best, played the postman. Okay? And postman also, that we told them that we are not backing down. These guys want to back down, ask them to talk to us, which is what they did. Okay? Now, I would rather trust my people, my leaders, my officials, with their honesty, rather than erratic and crazy people in the US White House right now who will tweet at 3 o'clock something and 5 o'clock something else. Number 3, a guy like Trump is also a bit of a bully. He will keep going and telling. He tried to mess around with the Chinese, right? The Chinese stared back at him. He piped down. He messed around with a whole lot of other people. Anybody who has stood up to him like a typical bully, he stands down. So I am not, and I think it has been made very clear by the government of India, there will absolutely be no mediation of any kind from any third party. It has been emphatically stated. Now what more do you want? If they ask for mediation later on, I will also hold their feet to fire. So I don't know what this unnecessary controversy is of a erratic kind of a guy who just keeps tweeting all the time. Even he doesn't even know. Please remember when Imran Khan went, what did Trump say? I met Modi 2 weeks back in Japan and he said something. Then Imran says, Mr. President, you know, the typical Pakistanis, that I'll hold your feet. Mr. President, if you mediate between us and solve this issue, 1 billion people will be giving you blessings. What did we do 2 weeks later? Please tell me. 2 weeks later, there were complete constitutional reforms in Jammu and Kashmir.
Clearly,
come
clearly
on, have some.
You know, it's temporary amnesia that the Congress has, but then finding problem in the middle of everything that is India's victory is something that the Congress literally lives on. But Tiny Dhillon, I want to ask you the question. The fact that we completely decimated the defense of Pakistan, is there any doubt? The fact that we destroyed, whether it was demonstrative or punitive, you know, I'm not getting into that language war, but we did destroy their air bases and their military institutions. The fact that it was Pakistan, probably, again I'm saying probably because there is a lot of speculation that the nuclear storage facility and its entrance had been damaged. We have on record Tom Cooper, who definitely knows more than what I know. He's a combat airfare historian, and he says it is geologically proved in terms of the satellite images. Why then should we doubt as Indians about who's the victor in this particular battle?
Ma'am, as a military man, I am very clear. If a nuclear nation's air force can be downed in 3 days and we can hit at will, if we have hit one missile, as some fellow panelists were saying, at the crossing of the X, we can hit 20 missiles there and knock out everything which is there in that air base. So our capability to hit at will at the time of our choosing, at the target of our choosing, and at the weapon system of our choosing, which will penetrate air defense of Pakistan. That is more important for me. Within 3 days, we brought down Pakistan Air Force to ground. That is more important for me. Today, when Pakistan was claiming Adampur has been hit, the smiles on the faces of the airmen who would have been on duty the whole night, and when they were the time to rest, they were with the Prime Minister, because people who were on duty were on duty. We are still in Operation Sindur. Those smiles told me that we are the victors. Those smiles were one. And when Prime Minister Modi laid out the nuclear doctrine in the simplest of the terms yesterday during his address to the nation, that is a victory for me. When he says we will go after the terror, not only the non-state actors and state actors, we don't differentiate. We will not only go after the terrorists, we will go after the handlers also. And we will hit at on will in case there is another terrorist strike. Now that is a victory for me. So as a military man, there are number of indications of victory for every Indian and to be proud of.
Absolutely. That's the picture on your screens, ladies and gentlemen, with the S-400 intact, the MiG-29 intact, the runway of the entire Air Force base absolutely intact. And this is the visual, the Bharat Mata Ki Jai chants that were going on. How's the Josh? Hi, sir. That is really the takeaway from this entire battle and Operation Sindur. And Operation Sindur has just pressed the pause button. It's not over yet. And that's why people in India, our viewers, SK Jain from Delhi is asking this question. There is no question of Modi government bound before anyone. Does anyone still have doubts? Air Marshal Srivastava, it's the question. Any doubts?
No doubt at all. If you see both the spectrum of warfare, where this defensive ops or offensive ops, we have succeeded completely. We met all the objectives as were brought out by Air Marshal Bharti also in his debrief, that yes, we were given a task, we performed the task. Please remember, what we did was the knowledge of target intelligence. We knew what to select and what was the precision accuracy, and we hit there with the precision. The kind of target you selected, that's also a bouquet of targets. You normally want to attack where the air bases are, like Abhijit brought out the cross-section of the 2 runways. You also want to attack their ammunition depots. You also want to attack their UAV centers. You also want to attack their National Command Authority. You would also like to attack their VIP squadron where they operate from. You also want to take out the ICE air defense system. You did all of that. You did all of that in one day. That's something which brings down whole of the Pakistani Air Force on its knees. There are 16 major air bases. You hit 11 of them. Can you have better? And you didn't let them launch any kind of offensive strike on yourself, because your air defense, which is from space, IW assets, EW assets, and net centricity, fully secure. And one more thing I would like to mention here.
No, but before you mention that, let me just come in. We have breaking news coming in. Trump, speaking at an event, has just says that he spoke to India and Pakistan, Pakistan getting along and they can be having dinner together soon. You want to believe Trump, Tehseen Poonawalla, then this one is just for you and the Congress is survival. And then he goes on to say, let's do some trading. Let's not trade nuclear missiles. They both have powerful, strong leaders. You know.
It's very easy for you to run down the opposition. Do you like it as a nationalist that he's hyphenating my Prime Minister with that joker Shahbaz Sharif?
Well, but then, I'm not looking for a certificate from Trump. Nobody here is looking for a certificate from Trump. Well, and that is my only take.
Shouting for no reason. Why are you shouting? Defend Modi ji.
I need to
Abhijit, are you looking?
It is not the Congress party which will need acknowledgement from
Pradeep, 1 minute. Abhijit,
So,
do we need a certificate from Trump?
the last time Trump hyphenated, we abrogated Article 370.
Well,
So, you know, he can try this again.
this time will it be POK? This time will it be POK? Let me, 1 minute, Tehseen Poonawalla, please, and Pradeep Bhandari. I have no time on the show. All I want to say tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the statement that the Prime Minister made to the nation yesterday, which redefined the Sindur doctrine. We will not be blackmailed, any terror will mean war, and we do not differentiate between state-sponsored terror or terrorists. It is the same to us. This is the new India, this is the new normal. And what else is the new normal? You export terror to us. You try and actually arm twist India or even look, वो कहते हैं ना बुरी नजर से देखा भी तो. Well, we'll be back at your door. If we've destroyed 11 air bases, we can destroy more. And your nuke facility, well, keep going to your big daddies, whether it's China or the United States. We don't care. The last time you hyphenated India and Pakistan, Article 370 was abrogated. This time, will it be POK with India? That's the message coming from here. Anybody who's looking for a certificate from President Donald Trump, well, they can take the next flight. Flights are still going, may not be to Amritsar, Tehseen, but flights are still going to the United States of America. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. Thank you to my panelists. And can we just all today say, Bharat Mata ki Jai. Bharat Mata ki Jai. Bharat Mata ki Jai. And that is what all of India is saying tonight. Bharat Mata ki Jai.